Good evening and welcome to China. It's the final IFSC action of 2018. Where has this season disappeared to? We are live from a surprisingly chilly Xiamen. I'm Charlie Bosco. Very pleased to say I've got Norwegian superstar Tina Jonsson Hafsås alongside me. Tina, we've just been down to the front of the wall. Two very different routes. Men's all about the crimps, and the women's, well, perhaps best you describe the women's route.
Yeah, we just talked to the route setters and they told us that the style of the route for the men's final was a bit more basic, maybe more girly, but still like physical. But while the girls' final is more about funky moves and weird positions and kind of dyno and stemming and volumes, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
So the men will be on the left, women on the right. We'll have a look at the routes in a bit more detail in just a second, but for now that's where the rankings stand. Jakob Schubert can't actually be caught. He didn't make the final here in Xiamen, 16th place for him in the semi-finals, but he can't be caught. He will be the champion, but there is a battle between Romain Desgrange and Domen Skofic for the last place on the podium. Stefano Ghisolfi also guaranteed second in the overall standings. Let's have a look at the women. You can see there Janja Garnbret, for the third season running, is the overall champion for 2018. She missed out on the World Championships to the woman who's taken second in the World Cup standings, Jessie Pilt, and the ever reliable, ever impressive Jane Kim is in third place. Manon Ely and Hannah Schubert both miss out on today's final. So it's going to be the men climbing first, the reverse of last week, when actually we didn't get to see the men climb because of the conditions. And here is the women's start list for when they climb later on. It's 3 Japanese climbers, 4 Slovenians and Jessie Pilt, the sole Austrian representative. And over on the men's side, Japan have 3 representatives in that final as well. So 6 of the 16 finalists in total are Japanese, but Sascha Lehmann will be the first climber out, and there he is, ready to roll. Yeah, Tina, we only had a second to talk about the routes, but this men's route, even the route setters are happy to admit, quite a basic route, traditional lead route. Yeah.
They told us it's quite easy beginning, and then okay traverse and crimps, and then there's a pretty long, powerful boulder that will hopefully split some people, and then pure resistance to the top on crimps.
Yes, it's a desperate-looking route when you're standing at the bottom of it. It's just this line of things that are just about holds for about 7 or 8 meters at the top of the route.
Yeah. So I think also the volumes, they are a lot more, or the texture is a lot better than it often looks like.
Yeah, how do you find there's quite a big difference between the holds you use in China and the ones at the European World Cups?
Yeah, it's quite different, because here in China they use a Chinese brand called Gecko King, which is actually pretty cool holds. But it's the texture is very different from the normal cheetah and flat holds that we usually climb on in Europe. But I think it's interesting. Like every time you go on the wall, you don't really know what to expect.
Adds an element of excitement. So here's Sascha Lehmann. You can see his time on the bottom right of the screen. As climbers have 6 minutes to complete their climb. They can be timed out, as Janja Garnbret was in the semi-final. And Sascha having a fantastic 2018. Missed the final in Wujiang, but he made a series of finals, 3 in a row in fact, back in July. Chamonix-Briançon in Arco, and then backed it up with a final in the Innsbruck World Championship as well. So brilliant season for a climber who's always had a lot of promise, but had a few problems with injuries, and by his own admission, not always the strongest mentally in his early climbing days. But he's got all that sorted, and we're really seeing him at his best, but we lose him just stepping up with the right hand.
Yeah. I think Sascha is one of the smaller guy climbers. He's only 163.
Yeah, I'm just looking down the list of climbers. I think he's one of, if not the smallest climber in this men's final. But that's a disappointing start.
Yeah, but he's such a strong guy. In the spring, I stayed in Switzerland for quite a long time, and I had some trainings with the Swiss team, and it was just incredible to watch him train.
Well, that is a disappointing end to his season. He's made the majority of World Cup finals. Let's have another look. So this was the move before. Thought about going up with the foot. So the left hand landed okay. Once again, we're taking our pictures from Chinese TV, so we don't have any controls over what replays we see. So, disappointing start for Sasha, or is it just a desperately hard move? It's never easy to tell at this stage of the competition. Hidemasa Nishida will be next up. Bows to the crowd in typically polite Japanese fashion. Won the Youth A lead in Moscow back in August. Incredibly strong. He's one of those guys it would be easy to count him out because he doesn't look like a climber when you see him walking around here, and then he gets on the wall and he just this beast inside him.
Yeah, he climbs really well. And he's also very young.
Yeah, 16 years old, turns 17 next year. It's a shared start, this, between the men's route and the women's route. So the women will do some of these moves. This is about the point where they'll branch off about here. They'll step out to the right, and then they follow a series of pink volumes and blue holds. Whereas the men head out left on the traverse. Traverse looked pretty steady when Sasha was doing it.
Yeah.
There's some tiny footholds.
Yeah, the route setters told me that the crimps are pretty good.
Just probably got to be careful not to stand on that bolt. But yeah, the traverse not especially tricky by the standards of World Cup route. Route setters also of the belief that perhaps this men's route might see one or two tops, and the women's route perhaps hard enough to stop everybody.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
We talked about it a lot in the semi-finals. Conditions change here in Xiamen. They can change in 10 minutes, from really good to terrible and vice versa. And these are some of the best climbing conditions the route setters say they've had all week.
Yeah.
It's quite chilly. There's a bit of wind, not as much as there was for yesterday's qualifiers. But conditions not bad at all. It's chilly enough that most people, including us, have got jackets on. There is a bit of a breeze and friction pretty good on the wall, so that's a big relief because the route setters have they've had some incredibly hot and humid conditions this week, but we've got good conditions for the final.
Yeah, the route setters said that they set most of the routes with a lot of crimps because they wanted to make it as fair as possible, because when the conditions change, it's hard and risky to set with slopers.
Hidemasa Nishida just trying that big move up with the right hand. Well, this is where we lost Sasha Lehmann. I've got to say, Hidemasa doesn't look especially comfortable either. Ooh. And we also lose him, so there's a clear crux move, very low on the men's route.
They both looked pretty stretched out.
Yeah, again, Hidemasa not as tall as some of the people in this competition, but I don't think height will be the key there.
No.
You've got to somehow get your feet up. The problem is, of course, that then pushes your hips away from the wall and it makes the bad right hand even worse.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting point you raise about what the route setters did with the crimps. As you said, they were saying to us earlier that if you use more crimps, then the route is less dependent on the conditions.
Yeah.
And they were worried that they would set the route and then conditions would change drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hidemasa trying to find some sort of a knee bar. So that was the theory behind the route being so crimpy. They were slightly unnerved by the very changeable conditions earlier in the week. So he actually moves into first place on count back to the previous round. Hidemasa Nishida.
Now it's Hyunbin. He made a comeback this season.
Yeah, it's been great to have him back.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite climbers to watch.
Four years ago, that World Cup win of his back in Mokpo in his home country. back on the podium last week in Wujiang in very odd circumstances. Never actually left the ground on in the final.
Yeah, it was a heavy rainstorm last weekend.
Yeah, it was a shame. We kind of expect the difficulties with the weather in Xiamen, and a lot of you watching at home will remember last year all sorts of problems.
Yeah, I think last year was even worse.
Yeah, last year was horrific. But it was Wujiang where we had the rain this time.
Yeah.
So far, Xiamen has delivered very good conditions and perfect blue sky. And you can just see in the background there, this is one of the most spectacular venues on the IFSC tour. The first year we came, it was kind of deserted. There weren't many people about. But this year, there's a lot of people out to watch. A lot of people milling around on the streets, seeing what's going on here. And I've met a few big Chinese climbing fans as well. But it's a truly spectacular venue. We're surrounded by, I'm trying to spin round, 6 or 7 massive glass skyscrapers. We've got this wall right in the middle of it. It's an amazing place to climb, particularly at night when all the skyscrapers are illuminated. And it's Hyun Bin Min currently in action. Getting slightly nervous about this move.
Yeah.
He's a relatively short climber.
Yeah, he's also one of the shortest.
I mean, when Romain de Grange comes out later, who's that bit taller, we'll get a bit of a better idea. But if we lose another climber, we really will be nervous. We found a completely different method.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see that head on. We saw it at a strange angle, so it was hard to judge the distances.
Yeah.
Crowd responding to that from Hyun Bin Min.
So this is the boulder that the route setters were talking about. It's a pretty powerful boulder.
It didn't slow him down much.
No, it looks good.
It's dual texture, that big round yellow hole, so the left-hand side of it's pretty good, the right-hand side pretty much useless. So you've got to use it correctly. So from here on out, there are not really any holds that most people would call a hold. That's the style of the route. It's crimps, tiny edges.
Yes.
Time very unlikely to be an issue for Hyun Bin Min. 3 minutes 40 left on the clock. He's already through the traverse. You can see just how much power required. You can also get a good look at that yellow volume, see the dual texture nature of it. As I say, left hand good, right hand useless.
And the crimps even look a bit slopey.
Yeah, they don't look great. But he's, you could tell there was definitely a move as he just moved out left that he found really tough.
Yeah.
But he seems to have got his rhythm back. Again, the crowd responding to that little pop from Hyun Bin Min.
But he's now into the resistance part. So let's see how far he can get. But it looks very solid.
Looks very solid, looks calm as well.
Yeah.
Fighting now onto the real top section of this route.
No.
But the foot slips as he was just beginning to pass underneath his right arm. And Hyun Bin Min looks furious with himself. And this route, which after a couple of climbers looked like it could be very tricky, suddenly looks very toppable.
Yeah.
So Hyun Bin Min's going to take a very early lead. It was just as he was crossing through, I think it was the left foot that popped.
Yeah, I didn't even see what happened.
Yeah, it was somewhere around hole 39. We've got a route map here, total of 47.
Yeah, the route actually...
48, excuse me.
48? Yeah, the route actually looks a lot longer than it is.
Yeah, and the wall is actually bigger than it looks as well. But 48 moves, we should say. The top hole counts as 2. This was, I think, a bit lower down. This was right at the end of the traverse, swinging out onto those huge yellow volumes. Oh, it's nice style. You could tell he had a lot of power to spare.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he often pulls a few campus moves on the routes.
Well, if you've got it, you might as well use it.
Yeah.
Here's Yuki Hara, back in the finals for the 3rd time in 2018. climbers get their individual observation time. That's what the clock on the bottom right of the screen and also the green one that you can see in the venue is counting down. You get 40 seconds when you come out. Climbers have already had group observation about 20 minutes before they started climbing. 6 minutes to observe the route en masse, and they can choose to discuss it with other people, well, other competitors in the final, I should say, should they wish. So, second of 3 Japanese climbers in this evening's men's final. They've also got 3 in the women's. Charlie Bosco and Tina Jonsson Hafsos. Getting close with the Norwegian. I'll take that as a no. Alongside me, Yuki, as with the other climbers, not too bothered by the traverse, it would seem. I really want to see how Hyun-Bin Min did that move.
Where he fell?
No, where off the big yellow volumes. I would love to see how he did the move that stopped the first 2 climbers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't have a really nice view of this sequence.
Hoping we'll hang on to this angle for Yuki Hara.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that Sasha and the young Japanese maybe misread the sequence?
Yeah, perhaps. Hyun-Bin Min definitely went up left.
Yeah.
And it didn't look, when he did it, especially difficult. Yuki Hara's going up right, and it's not working for him either. Well, we didn't get a good look at the one person that successfully executed this move, but clearly you got to go left.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Hyun-Bin was doing something right.
He was cruising.
Yeah.
So this is how Yuki Hara got stood up on the yellow volume.
He just jumped, went for it.
Yeah, full commitment, but there was nothing really there waiting for him.
Yeah, I think these banana holds, I think there are a few different, and this one looked like one of the worst ones. Like there's one banana that's pretty good, which I guess you can jump to from this position, but this one looked pretty slopey.
So we await the arrival now of the 2017 World Cup champion Romain Negron. His 40 seconds of individual observation will get underway. Once that's completed, he'll get on the route, and I bet when he saw all those crimps, he was a happy man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really the champion of crimps.
Thing is, he's got to get there. 3 out of 4 climbers haven't managed to get to them.
Yeah.
Has he read it right? We suspected that height might be the key to that move, but I'm beginning to wonder if it is. So this would be very interesting with Romain Negron. I think if he can get through that move and the boulder problem above, then he will really enjoy the top section of this route.
Yeah. Yeah, Romain's been in the game for a very long time now.
Yeah, 15 years ago he made his World Cup debut.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's just incredible. Yeah, he actually made his World Cup debut the year after Hidemasa Nishida was born. And here he is. But he just he keeps getting better. He got even better. Last year he was incredible. I mean, he won last week, albeit in very strange circumstances without climbing in the final, but a win is a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a phenomenon. He just keeps going.
Yeah.
An inspiration. Now then, this is the key moment, and he'll know that, Romain Negron, because he won't have been behind the wall very long at all. He's already out. So he's got himself set with, had himself set with the left hand. Looks to me like he's going up right again. And we lose Romain as well. That's 4 climbers out of the first 5, and again
there's only 3 guys left, right?
Yeah, no, again we missed it. Apologies. As I say, we're taking our pictures from Chinese TV. We can't choose what angles we get. That wasn't the ideal one. Hopefully we'll get a replay. I think here it is now.
Yeah.
So we can't really see where he went with the right hand, but it looks So he went to pinch.
Yeah.
This is the angle we want. What an amazing move, because Hyun-Bin Min just walked through it.
Yeah. Yeah, he made it look easy. But he went completely different. I'm not sure what the intended beta is, but what Hyun-Bin did was probably a smart decision.
It's looking smarter by the minute, and that is a shame because that is a route that would suit Romain Desgrange to the ground.
Also, Stefano could do really well on this one.
Yes, absolutely.
All the last guys are good on crimps.
You can see it there. Hidemas and Ashida being given a 23. Sure about that.
Huh.
Anyway, Hyun-Bin Min is in the lead. I wouldn't be surprised if those scores change yet. Stefano Ghisolfi is a brilliant outdoor rock climber.
Yeah. Again,
could really enjoy this route. Nothing, well, we thought there was nothing particularly strange about it. This move's suddenly looking a bit odd.
Yeah, I wonder what the route setters are thinking now.
Routes, scores coming along the top of your screen. Keep an eye out. Hyun-Bin Min leading the way. Stefano Ghisolfi won here in Xiamen the first year we came here in 2016. Always seems to climb well in China. Really embraces the experience. He's been here in Xiamen most of the week instead of going to Shanghai like a lot of the teams have.
Yeah, I think the Italian team also did that last year, and they really enjoyed it. I guess Xiamen is a bit smaller. Like Shanghai is pretty busy and very big city life.
Yeah, I think it just depends what you like, and there's a little climbing facility here in Xiamen, and the Italians know it well, and it just works for them.
Yeah.
So Stefano, we could do again with that front-on angle. Come on, Mr. Director, you know you want to show us that angle where we can see what he's doing with his right hand.
Yeah. Doing like Hyun-Bin.
So he's matching where the other climbers had their left hand and then carrying up up with the left.
Yeah.
Is he going to try and use that right hand? Hyun-Bin Min just basically completely ignored it. I think Stefano would be well served to do the same. And he's through it. Crowd respond. Stefano Ghisolfi in the hunt for another big result in what has been an excellent season for him. Got to get through the boulder problem first, though.
I think he's into the resistance part now.
It doesn't look like he's used too much energy as well. He still looks quite fresh.
Yeah.
You can see the nature of the route there. Just tiny holds on an otherwise big blank wall. Wind really picked up here in Xiamen. Frankly, it's cold, conditions improving by the minute. What can Stefano deliver? Still going strong, Stefano Ghisolfi. Just needs to keep the body tension, keep on crimping.
Yeah,
the lead beckons here if you can do this move. There it is.
It looks good.
You can see the top coming up as well. Only 3 more volumes after this one, so that's the lead for Stefano Ghisolfi with just Taisei Homme and Domen Skofic to come. Pops up with the right hand. Needs to get that quick draw clip though, but he'll choose to go up with the left instead. It's a better clipping position. Clever work from Stefano Ghisolfi. That is the penultimate clip. The next time he clips a quick draw, if he can get there, it'll be the top. You can see the top hold waiting for him. He's got the right hand in place. He'll match with the left and then stab out to the right. Just misses that tiny screw-on hold on the top volume, but Stefano Ghisolfi sets a high point which may not be bettered. He can only wait now as Taisei Homme and Domen Skofic try their luck, and you could see him slightly wincing. His fingers had a good workout there. So Stefano Ghisolfi knows he'll be on the podium. He's going to be in the top 3. That was really the last move where he didn't look completely solid until where he fell. He
Yeah.
looked really solid through the resistance.
Yeah.
It really looked like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really good in this style.
So let's have a look again. Didn't see it from that angle. I think he just slightly missed the key section of that tiny hole. Either way, Stefano is in the lead. 45 plus for him. And Hyunbin Min on 38 plus. There's the two of them just comparing notes. It definitely looked like Hyunbin Min had a bit more left when he fell,
sure.
and that's slightly frustrating.
Yeah.
Here is Taisei Hama, the third and final Japanese climber on the men's side of things. Still to come for the women, Mei Kataki, Akiyo Noguchi and Eika Tajima. But Stefano Ghisolfi now will sit in the temporary winner's chair down by the front of the wall. And I suspect he might be glad of someone bringing him a jacket soon. The temperature really beginning to drop here. Taisei Hama taking pretty much every second of his observation time.
He climbed really well in semis earlier today. Like, he made the semi-final look really easy.
He did. He certainly did. 19-year-old Japanese climber. I mean, we always think of Japan being maybe even stronger in bouldering, but 6 out of the 16 finalists Japanese this evening. Just got to be careful again not to touch any of those bolts with his feet. We don't need any more controversies after 1 or 2 issues in Innsbruck.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how Japan, like, first they focused on bouldering and then now they dominate, and now they also have focused on lead and they start to dominate there as well.
People shouldn't lose heart though. Remember, there's a cap on numbers from each country come the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that Japan are just going to dominate the Olympics.
No, they only have 2 spots like everyone else, right?
Yep. They have 1 guaranteed, which nobody else does because
Okay.
as a host country. But yeah, 2 spots, two men, 2 women. So that still leaves 18 slots. So yeah, the other climbers, I'm sure, aren't losing heart at the fact that Japan are churning out so many good climbers because only 2 of them can go.
Yeah.
So Taisei Hama, if he cannot get through this move, that means Stefano Ghisolfi is guaranteed at least a silver medal. He's already guaranteed at least a place on the podium. Has he read it right? Looks like he's eyeing it up with the right.
Uh-oh.
Can he make it work? He went up and felt just how bad the hold was. I think he's going for a rethink, but he's definitely looking to the right. I'm trying to read his body language. He's definitely trying with the right, and it's not working, and he falls as well.
Ay, ay, ay. Such a shame.
It is such a shame, and I can't help but feel a bit sorry for the route setters because we've seen that the move is perfectly possible.
Yeah.
It's not a ridiculous move. The climbers are just reading it wrong.
Yeah. But I think it's a pretty cool thing with routes as well, that it's also about finding the right solutions.
Yeah, I think the route setters will receive some criticism, but I hope they don't because
it's not their fault, I think.
It's not their fault. They want the route. They want the climbers to think.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be so obvious that everyone knows how to do it, and it just becomes who can do the most pull-ups.
Yeah.
But the climbers are reading it wrong. But the 2 who've read it right have cruised through it.
Yeah.
And there we see it, big time 20 plus. Again, Hidemasa and Nishida on 23. We'll see about that. Either way, Stefano Ghisolfi is currently leading the way. He's going to be at least second. Hyunbin Min is going to be on the podium. What can Domen Skofic do? Not won a World Cup, believe it or not, for over 2 years, Domen. They've just lost the clock that normally indicates their observation time. He's got 15 seconds remaining that he chooses not to use, and he's underway already, and the route clock begins at 6 minutes. Well, this men's final, I mean, we only got started half an hour ago, but
the fastest we've had this year.
yeah, I'm pretty sure, well, apart from last week, that was...
Oh yeah, that's true.
Sadly, that was the quickest of all. So, really the key, it would seem at this stage, is that Domen can find a way through that 20 to 21 move that's been stopping so many of the climbers. No problem at all with the traverse. I guess the key is just to keep as much energy as you can.
Yeah, Domen didn't have the best comp last weekend. Like, he told me he struggled with some virus, stomach issues.
Stomach problem, yeah.
Yeah, but he's looking to be back in shape now.
Yeah, he looked super strong in the round so far, hence why he's coming out last in the final. Now then, he's looking
Let's see.
I hope he's looking left. I think he is. I think he's going to match. I think he's going to go out left. So he gets the clip done early on, and there you go. That's a really strange move, because the climbers who've done it, it looks the obvious way to do it.
Yeah,
so what
and it looks so easy as well.
yeah, and that's the frustration for us watching, for the climbers and for the route setters. I wonder what it is that was making people think about moving right, because it looks so clear. So we already know our podium. We just don't know the order. Hyunbin Min, Stefano Ghisolfi and Domen Skofic are going to be our top three. They're all World Cup winners. It's a heavyweight podium. And now it's just a case of waiting and watching and seeing whether Domen can be efficient, figure out these moves. That's the man he's chasing down, Stefano Ghisolfi. 2 World Cup wins already for Stefano in 2018. One in Xiamen, his first European win, and then backed it up in Kran. He really picks the iconic venues, and Xiamen is fast becoming one of those iconic venues. Domen, I think quite sensibly, is taking a rest. He's got over 3 minutes remaining to do this resistance section, and I don't think it would take anything like that. I think if you tried to hang on for 3 minutes on that section, you'd be too pumped before your time ran out anyway. So you can afford to take a long rest.
Yeah, it's really a fine balance between like when you should go and when you should just continue to rest.
So Domen up onto the 2 yellow triangles. Could do with getting that quick draw clip before he gets too far away from it. That's nicely done. So this is where we lost Hyunbin Min, was just crossing underneath this right hand.
Yeah, Domen is also one of the guys who's really strong on crimps. Like, he usually does well in qualifiers, which is usually more crimpy and pumpy, and then semis and finals are a slightly different style. So I think he can get really high on this one.
Yeah, what he doesn't realise, of course, is these moves here are the difference between a silver and a bronze.
Yeah.
But he's through, so it's going to be a silver at least for him. Hyunbin Min's going to take the bronze. It's now a straight fight between the man that we saw looking up at the wall and the man who's on it. Stefano Ghisolfi can only watch as Domen Skofic tries to hunt him down. You can see there, he's got the penultimate quick draw clipped. There's the penultimate volume. The right hand lands. He'll match with the left, and then he'll move out to the right. Can he make it stick? Can he finish this final in perfect style with the top? He's got more than enough time. He can take all the time he wants to get himself set. He's shaking out. There's a tiny little foothold for his right. He chooses not to use it, but he stabs out right. He matches the score of Stefano Ghisolfi on the route, but Domen Skofic will win it on count back to the previous round. Domen, I don't think he realises the result just yet, or is he just so tired that he's not too worried about the result until he's got some oxygen back inside? Is he looking across at Team Slovenia? Surely he'll be awarded the same score as Stefano.
Yeah. And he will win on countback.
Yeah. Well, I think if he isn't given a plus for that, he won't be given it for anything. Yeah, he will match Stefano on a 46 plus. That's great to see. Handshake between the two.
Yeah.
Domen a winner once again. We will try and get him up here to the commentary box in our perch above the arena. 45 plus actually. Either way, what matters is Domen Skofic back on top. Number one for him. Stefano Ghisolfi won't come much closer than that. Second to last hold, losing on countback to the previous round. And Hyun Bin Min ends up in third. Where it ended up with a lot of tension in the final. It's just a shame that more climbers couldn't have figured out that move, and we couldn't see what they could have done on the section above.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of disappointment among the guys now. But I think it was a good route.
Yeah, I liked it, and as I say, I hope the route setters don't get too much criticism, because I think it was a case of the climbers misreading it.
Yeah.
I think they just didn't quite figure it out.
Yeah.
Interesting that, well, with the exception of Romain de Grange, the three most experienced climbers were the ones that figured it out.
Yeah.
The importance of experience.
And it didn't even look like they were confused. They just like tap, 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 knew what they were doing.
As your competition climbing career progresses, can you feel yourself improving at reading routes? Do you come down off the wall less often, annoyed at how you've read it?
No, I actually feel like it's a just continuous thing. Like sometimes you read it right and sometimes you read it wrong. And I don't feel like it's often I totally misread, but maybe like just put my feet a little different than what's ideal for the movement.
And we were talking earlier on before we came on air about how you feel the setting style's changed, particularly in relation to that, in making mistakes and misreading routes.
Yeah, I feel like the style, like last year it was more physical, straight on climbing. It was a big advantage to be powerful and just go. While this year it's more, not tricky, but the sequences are a bit more complex, so you need to do every move correctly. And if you do something wrong, you either need to be really fit so you can afford to do mistakes, or you're off.
Yeah, we saw that, I felt, a lot in the semi-final. It was only the absolute strongest climbers that could get away with any sort of mistake, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a lot of girls who fell early today about, like, a lot of climbers could do better than they did. And even Giant missed finals this year.
Yeah, we'll talk about them more in a second, but we had some big surprises in the semi-final. We've already talked about the men, Jakob Schubert missing out, but Jane Kim.
Yeah, I think it must be her first in many, many years.
Yeah, it's a long time since she missed a final. But yeah, just made a relatively small mistake, but even someone with as much power and technique as Jane Kim wasn't able to stay on, and she finished, I think it was 10th in the semi-final. Either way, enough to keep her out of the final. We are still hoping to grab a word with Domen. I can just see him putting a jacket on. It's something I never thought I'd say, but it is quite cold here in Xiamen.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and excellent conditions for the women's route, which I think is more conditions dependent than the men's, maybe.
Yeah, probably. It's a bit bigger holes, but a lot of the big holes also have small crimps on them. It's maybe not obvious or easy to see, but a lot of them do.
Yeah, there is a shared start, the men's and the women's route, and then the women will branch off right up the pink and yellow, and then that one lone black hold in the middle.
Yeah.
48 moves on the women's route. 48 moves to the top. Remember, it's not a top unless you clip that quick draw, though. Domen just doing the tour of people wanting to offer their congratulations, and there's a nice moment, sadly not captured on camera, but Jakob Schubert gives Domen a big hug and says congratulations, they're good friends, and Domen's had to wait a while. Yeah, we've got a replay of Domen's climb lined up and ready to watch with him. And he's making his way up to us now. Tina, you get a 5-minute break. It's not quite enough time to run to the good coffee shop, just on the other side of the road. But thank you for your company in the men's final. And I look forward to speaking to you in about 5 minutes for the women's.
Sure.
Yeah, Domen just heading up to us now. And as I say, we've got a replay ready to go of his climb. That's just the sound of Tina congratulating Domen.
Hey, man.
Domen, welcome. Sorry to interrupt your celebrations. I know you were
No problem, no problem.
talking to all your friends and receiving a lot of congratulations. Amazing performance. It feels like you've waited a long time for this.
Yeah, I have to say that it feels like I won the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, like waiting 2.5 years, like in between you're not even sure anymore if you're still able to do it, you know, so yeah, I'm like extremely happy. I knew that I'm like in a really good shape this year, but just somehow it didn't come together. And feels sweet to be on the top in the last one.
Well, let's have a look at how you do it on our monitor down here. Yeah, I've said a few times, it's felt like this season you've never had that World Cup where everything's happened. You've had a good round, but you've never had a World Cup where everything came together and it just worked perfectly.
Yeah, this last climb, last competitions, all the routes I climbed really nicely again, and maybe I just relaxed. Like after I had a main goal in Innsbruck, and after that I was kind of frustrated, and Kran and also Wujang didn't go as I planned, and then I saw I lost also the third place in the overall, and yeah, I just had nothing to lose and just climbed really nicely. So
now you have to talk us through this move. Did you realize 5 people fell on this move?
no, I was sure that somebody fell because the crowd was like, oh yeah, go with the left. Yeah, they wanted to tell it with the cheering, but I already knew it on observation. It's logical to go like this. So sometimes you know already, and you're lucky. But yeah.
Why do you think people were going right? Because it looked so logical when you went left, but yeah, 5 out of 8 climbers went with the right. Were you tempted, or was it really clear that it was left?
To me it was clear, but sometimes it's like I was you know, the routes are always set differently, and sometimes on observations you don't know anything what you're gonna do, and sometimes just pops right away, because sometimes I'm also in the same situation. Other climbers go over so easily, and at first minute they know everything, and I'm like staring at that route, and I'm like, wow, what should I do? So yeah, I don't know, it felt logical.
And then this section, it just looked super physical.
Yeah, it was pumpy.
You getting pumped at this stage?
I was getting pumped, but I remained calm, and yeah.
You took a long rest as well. You had a lot of time remaining.
Yeah.
That's a nice luxury.
I climbed really fast at the lower section because I kind of knew it's easy. So I said I'd rather preserve it for the later on, and it worked also, yeah.
So yeah, going up through this section, the moves look quite obvious. Is that how they felt?
Yeah, I think all the routes here were really old school. Like, I mean, I'm really good in this style, and I liked it a lot. And so it was nothing confusing, just like pumpy.
Now, what you didn't realize here is you paused on the move that would have decided silver or bronze.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when you put your right hand here, if you then move with your left, you get the silver. But if you fell there, you get the bronze.
Oh,
and
really?
you take like a long break. It was the crucial moment.
Oh, crazy.
I know you didn't realize it at the time.
Actually, here I wanted to clip, because I was thinking, like, as soon as I grab the next holds, I'm gonna won't be able to clip anymore. So I was pretty sure this one is okay. Should I clip now or should I keep going? So on the end I decided to keep going, but yeah, that's why I stopped. It wasn't really resting. It was trying to figure out, should I clip or should I keep going?
Yeah, it was because if it could have come down to which medal you got.
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't realise that at the time.
No, of course not.
And then this is the penultimate quick draw. Is it hard to stay concentrated? Are you beginning to think about the top, or are you just too involved with the moves?
I was kind of here at this point. That's what I felt, because I still had like enough power, but I hesitated. Look, right here when I matched, I should go straight away to the top, and I would do it, but it was again a mental thing which stopped. Yeah.
Did you see the foot?
No, I didn't see. You see,
okay.
I was too concentrated about the top. Oh, I should do it. I should do it. If I do it, I'm definitely gonna win. But if I fall, I don't know. So yeah, you see.
It almost came as a surprise when you went. You know, it looked like you were trying to figure it out, and then suddenly you just thought, oh, forget it, I'm going.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure, like, after Stefano came to me and showed me, yeah, you won, I wasn't sure, what is this, like, is it enough even for the podium? I wasn't sure, maybe somebody topped already, so...
And we're just about to look at the ranking, and you are tied for third place in the overall ranking for the season.
Whoa, how's that possible?
Hey, I don't do the maths.
Oh my goodness.
You might want to go.
But what does it mean? This is first time in history that I see this.
I'm sure you share the podium with Roma. So
really?
That's a nice result.
Really?
Yeah, I think
so.
Oh
my.
Hey.
Hey.
Just remember the no swearing on the live stream rules.
Yeah.
But it's a nice result.
It almost came out.
Yeah, I know. Hey, sometimes it's justified, but.
Wow, so close.
Yeah, nice news, and it's felt like watching.
But you're sure?
I'm only seeing what you're seeing.
Oh my goodness.
Hey. Maths is not my strong point.
Mine neither. So,
hey, I don't want to guarantee it, but that's
okay.
what I'm.
Hopefully they are sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same screen as you, and hopefully that's the case.
Okay.
But it's felt like a frustrating couple of years from you now. Does this just give you a bit more motivation for a big winter?
Oh yeah, this is a huge motivation for the next year. It's really rough. Like I've been all the championships two times fourth place, one time fifth, and like it would be the third season where I would be fourth if I wouldn't win now and saved myself, and 1 year fifth, so it was always like so close to the podium, but I cannot really say it's bad because I won once, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got Janja coming up now. Are you more nervous for you or for her when you're climbing?
I don't know. At first few years it was I was pretty sure like every time she's gonna like perform really well, but now that we're like more time together, I'm like more and more nervous for her, yeah, because she means so much to me that I don't know.
Oh, you're making me emotional.
Yeah,
but it's nice. It's nice to hear.
It's yeah. First, I was never like nervous for anybody else. I knew that if they are enjoying, they're having good time, and it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. It looks like I'm getting older and different in this point of view.
You're getting sentimental in your old age. But yeah, fantastic achievement today. It's obviously I try to be neutral, but it's felt like you've deserved a win for a year. You always have to earn it, but it felt like this year you maybe deserve one. And
thank you.
It's fantastic that you got one. So huge.
You're not the only one to say this, but yeah, thank you.
No, it's felt like you've been close a few times. So yeah, big congratulations.
Thank you. Finally.
We've got the women's final coming up very shortly, including this man's girlfriend, Janja Garnbret. She'll be climbing third to last, a relatively unfamiliar position for her. And hopefully we can get back down to the front of the wall and see what's going on. I assume the women are getting underway at 7:30. We're not going to start until 7:30. They were scheduled to start at 7:30, and I'm being told that's what's going to happen. So we've got about a 10-minute break. Domen, we'll let you go for more congratulations from the crowd and from your teammates and your friends, but from everyone at the live stream, myself included, big congratulations.
Thank you again.
So while we wait for the women's final to get underway, here's a quick chat I had earlier on with the winner of the overall title in the speed for 2018, Bassama Wem.
Today is a very special day because it's the last day of the season.
The general ranking was up for grabs between 4 of us before coming here, and I was trying not to think about it because I wanted to do the best performance I could. I just thought about myself and going from round to round, and it's just amazing. First place, second win of the year. It's my best season, my best time. It's just amazing.
Sur moi-même, à avancer et à accélérer tour par tour. Donc voilà, c'est juste fantastique quoi. Premier, une deuxième première place cette année. C'est ma meilleure saison, je fais mes meilleurs temps et c'est juste exceptionnel quoi.
There are different types of athletes and different ways to do things. I don't know if I have the correct recipe, but I just try to be myself and take it race by race. Qualification, I just thought about qualification and then just the next round and so on.
Et voilà quoi, je prends les tours après les tours. En qualif, je me dis bon bah je me concentre sur le premier run de qualif. Donc 1 sur 6, ensuite 2 sur 6, 3 sur 6, 4 sur 6, 5 sur 6 et le dernier. Et voilà, je prends les tours après les tours, c'est vraiment de me concentrer sur moi-même et de ne pas faire d'erreur.
So huge congratulations to Bassam Awem going into that men's speed climbing final. In fact, going into the semi-finals, we were down to the last 4. It was still a 4-way race for that title. Gripping stuff. Please go and watch the replay on the IFSC YouTube channel. Still about 10 minutes to go before the women's final gets underway. So here's a bit of an insight into some of the gyms, the gym that some of the climbers have been training out here in Xiamen over the past week.
Hello, I'm Stephen Huang. I live here in Xiamen. A local climber here. We have this gym 5 years ago. Actually, most of the local camps here. Every year they World Cup Xiamen here. A lot of teams like French team, Italian team came here for training. We already climbed here last year, so we checked it this year to come here in Xiamen because we need to train between Bouldering and Xiamen. And I think for like little training is perfect because it's not very big, but there's a lot of holes, even hard holes. So we set some boulders and some circuit. And for climbing, hard climbing is perfect. Then the owner said that for beginner is not so easy, so was the best for us.
Hello and welcome to the Xiamen Wall. This is one of the most unique and I think impressive venues that we go to on the IFSC tour. A man that knows it well, having worked here all week, is Flo Morning, our chief route setter. How has the week been in Xiamen for you?
Yeah, we had good weather, not like Wuxiang last week. It was not raining, but the humidity, the wind, the temperature, it changes from 1 minute to another. It's really difficult to know what's going to be in the competition tomorrow and the day after.
And how much do the conditions change in terms of climbing? Does a route go from feeling really easy to impossible in an hour?
Yeah, during the testing, it was not even an hour. It was from minute to minute. It was like we tried to test the routes and the exact time the competition is going to be. And different days, and it was, we cannot say, we tried to play safe with not too many slopers. I hope it works out.
And for each really hard move on the route, do you try and have a few alternatives so that you can feel how the weather is before the round and make small adjustments?
Yeah, we do. We collected a couple of holes, especially for the semi-final and the final, to see how the climbers feel in the qualification, how can they move on the holes. If it's going to change, we have something in mind to make it work.
And do you know what the weather forecast is for the weekend? Is it been about the weather you've had all week?
Today is the hottest day. Tomorrow it should be a little bit cloudy in the first part of the day, which will be the qualification of the women, I think. On the afternoon it's going to be sunny but much cooler than today and more wind.
Okay, well this is one of the toughest places to set, so good work so far, and I really hope it works out.
Yeah, thanks, I hope.
And welcome back to Xiamen Live. We are about 5 minutes away from the start of the women's final. They've already done their observation. They've already been presented to the crowd. And now we just await their arrival. There is a fixed start time for the competition. We're on Chinese TV, or I should say taking our pictures from Chinese TV. And so we're on a schedule, so we can't start the women's final early, before 7:30. Just seen Domen Skofic get back on top of a World Cup podium after a 2.5-year break. Janja Garnbret trying to get back on the top step herself. So, go make a cup of tea, crack open a beer perhaps, might be a bit early for those of you in Europe and definitely those of you in the States. And I will speak to you in 3 or 4 minutes time for the start of the women's final.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the IFSC World Cup Xiamen 2018. We're about to see the final of the final. Yes, woman lead final. 女子难度的决赛即将开始。
Hello and welcome back to Xiamen on the South China Sea. Women's final underway, 7:30 p.m. here in Xiamen, and on the dot, Meiko Taki arrives, our first female finalist. Charlie Bosco here, Tina Jonsson Hafsas alongside me. And we're ready for the women's final. Domen Skofic back on the top step of the podium in the men's.
Yeah.
On a route with a bit of a funny move that only 3 climbers figured out, and all 3 of them made it onto the podium. What will the women's deliver?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the women's final.
Yeah, it shares the same start as the men. They do the first, I'm just looking at my route map, it's not many, first half a dozen or so moves. So once Meiko Taki gets to that second quick draw, she'll then move out right, where the men went left. You can see already the quick draw's been closed off by the route setters, just to make sure there's absolutely no chance of a climber going the wrong way. May launches now onto the women's route proper, and it's very different in style from the men's route. Much more volumes, compression. In fact, we don't really know how it'll climb until we see it in action. We're speculating.
But they promised us some funky moves, including a dyno volume stem and jump into a mantle thing at the top.
Yeah, we've had some big promises from the route setters. Let's see what they can come up with. Yeah, a total of 48 moves in total. If you do 48, you've topped the route. May, with her regulation 6 minutes, is now underway.
So now she's moving into the first funky move with the toe hook, and then jumping out of the toe hook.
You can see the toe hook looks pretty secure. I think she's struggling with her skin a bit. You can just see her ripping a bit off with her teeth there.
Yeah. Yeah, the texture on these holds is really rough. Really takes a lot of skin doing 4 rounds.
Now then, how does she do the move as the route setters wanted to do it? Yeah, you can see she's really struggling. That middle finger on the right hand again. She's biting at, trying to get rid of the spare skin.
But the jump wasn't really a jump.
No, she found she found a way to make it not a jump. Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the jump.
Yeah.
Never quite arrived.
I wonder if this little chip is a handhold or a foothold. Like, she used it for her hand, but...
Yes. So this black volume makes a very good landmark on this women's route. It's the only black hold on it. And that is hold number 24, so she's halfway, Meiko Taki. Now heading out to the right. Route setters think this women's route is super hard as well. Hey?
Yeah.
They're expecting maybe a top, but perhaps not. Meiko Taki make it look pretty straightforward so far. Conditions for climbing excellent here in Xiamen.
Yeah.
It's chilly. There's a pretty good breeze.
So now she's supposed to, like, stem up into the volume.
Yeah, she's really not doing what the route setters were hoping. Meiko Taki she's found her own way of doing things, and it's working well for her. It's a hard move on the shoulders here, though. Moving out right, that's hole 29-30. Meiko Taki just trying to readjust her hands here. Going out with the right, you can see she's just beginning to get pumped now. The movement's just becoming slightly more urgent. She gets a slight change of style here. Could have done without that left foot popping. She'll want to swap the hand. There it is. And then she's going to bounce up with the left hand. Meiko Taki putting in an incredible performance on this women's route. Gets the toe hook on that triangular volume. Now she's going to pop up towards that half moon type volume, the almost banana shaped one. Right hand land. You can tell she's pumped, but she's still going. Hole 35, Meikotaki going so well on this women's final route. Is she going to try and get a rest or at least try and chalk up? First things first, she's got to clip the quick draw. She's done that now. Goes up with the right hand. I'm not sure how that left foot stayed in place. Goes through with the left. And finally falls about half a dozen moves after she first looked tired. That is an exceptional performance from her.
Yeah, she looked happy when she fell.
Wow, well, she left nothing on the wall, Meikotaki. Superb stuff from her. She started to look really tired, 3 or 4 moves out, including this move here, but just kept finding a way. It seemed like the change of style came at a really good time for her, you know, just as she was getting pumped on the crimps.
Yeah.
And you can see the problems she was having with her skin. She also nibbled at her middle finger at one stage. It wasn't just that index finger. And when you've got sore skin on your index and middle finger on your right hand, that is not the move you want to be doing. I think she's pretty happy with that one, Meikotaki. Obviously, regardless of how she's done, she will sit in the temporary winner's chair. And it's always so hard to tell early on in any round of climbing. Is that a medal-winning performance, or is the route easier than the route setters think?
Yeah.
We'll begin to get a better idea as the climbers come.
It's nice to see Mina back in finals.
Yeah, Mina Markovic didn't have a good time at all last week in Wujiang, but she went well, at least in the qualifiers and semi-finals in Kran a month ago. She didn't have a great time in the final. She fell on the jump there.
Yeah, that's true.
Second final in the last 3 events in the last month.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mina Markovic never bet against her. Just thinking about going back to Meikotaki, how she was on the crimp, suddenly gets a complete change of style. Do you find that really kind of alleviates the pump? It really gets rid of the pump? Or does it just change it a bit? Because it seemed like May just kind of got a few more moves, maybe than she would have done if the style had stayed the same.
Yeah, but she wasn't as pumped as she might have looked have been on the crimps. Like, if you're super pumped and the style change, it's often hard to like follow the change. Especially if you go from crimps to squeezing. But if you go from squeezing to crimps, it's usually easier, because then it's all about closing it.
Mina going well so far. No problems at all in the first minute and a half. Heading up towards hold 17. It's that next crimp is number 17. You get an idea of just how bad the holds are from the close-ups we're getting here from our Chinese colleagues. I think she might take the opportunity, she will, just to chalk up very briefly on that big blue hold. Now she gets going again onto the big arrowhead-shaped pink volume. There's the big black hold that marks pretty much the halfway point on the route. Goes up with the left hand and gets it done. This is Mina Markovic in Xiamen, Women's Lead World Cup final. This is the last final of 2018. This is good stuff from Mina. So there's been times we've watched her in the last few years when sometimes she's misread sequences or she's not looked as confident as she could, but
yeah,
this is her looking pretty strong. I'm not sure that's the method, Meikotaki's method, although it looked difficult with the hand swap. It was certainly effective, and I think Mina's now thinking the same thing. But no, it's nice to see Mina climbing well again. She just needs to find a way to make this work. I don't think leading with the left hand would have worked there. Now she's underway again.
Yeah, the last few years Mina is in semis, like either she cruises and do really well, or she's one of the last ones doing a mistake early or start to hesitate on moves you can't really hesitate on. But it's nice to see her back here in finals.
Yeah, well, when she's going well, she's
Yeah,
absolutely one of the best climbers out there.
Yeah.
Her record speaks for itself.
yeah.
And now she's up to that banana. You can see the holds above that Meikataki got to. Needs to just think about the clip there, Mina. There's a clip, that one there, down by her left leg now. Doesn't want to get too far away from that. I think if she gets stood up, it could make it very difficult to clip. But she might have a plan. She does not have a plan, sadly. Mina tried to go through with the right hand. Was she thinking about the clip?
Probably. She looked a bit stressed and confused. And she couldn't really find the position to clip in.
Yeah, so Meikataki's high point will stand for now. Chasakalan, the second of 4 Slovenians in the final. Chasakalan, Mia Krampel and Janja Garnbret still to come. Yeah, 4 Slovenians, 3 Japanese climbers and an Austrian in this women's final.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's a pretty, 3 pretty strong teams.
Yeah.
This was Meikataki. And here was Mina a bit lower down. Around the whole 20 mark. Yeah, she just couldn't quite figure out how to get a hand free to clip, I think. Quick draw is down by her feet. She couldn't really have moved any further. Well, the judges might have said she'd gone too far. Meikataki stays in the lead holder's seat. So, second Slovenian, third climber, Chasakalan. 40 seconds of individual observation. You can see that clock with the green numbers there on the left signifying how long she's got left.
It's also nice to see Chasa in finals. Like, she's been 9 and 10 in so many comps this season.
Yeah, she made the final last week in Wujiang.
Yeah, but she struggled a lot with the humidity.
Yes, yeah, she did. Yeah, 3 ninth place finishes for her so far in 2018.
Yeah.
Do you find you're more disappointed to finish 9th and kind of 12th? Does it bother you how close you got?
To me, it's more about moves. Like, how close are you really? Like, results can only say so much.
Yeah.
But of course, if it's, I don't know, a 9th place and just a plus, it's of course frustrating. But if it's like 4 moves and a 9th place, it's 4 moves.
And we've got the semis on the finals on the same day here in Xiamen as we did last week in Wujiang. Do you like that?
Yeah, I prefer this schedule. Like, having semis after qualis it's stressful, and it's like 3 routes with quite a short break, which takes a lot of skin and it takes a lot of energy, and you're just tired. But of course you get psyched when you start doing the warm-up, but before it's pretty hard. And I also think it's nice that after the qualis you get to go home and reset, and then you wake up the next morning, there's a new route, a new day, and you start everything over again.
Chasakalan now out towards those crimps. Route beginning to look familiar. Sadly, the men's route was never able to become familiar because 5 of the climbers not able to figure out the move that basically exited the traverse. But all 3 climbers making a good dent in this women's route so far. Yeah, like with Mina, the feet cut loose as Chasakalan swings out to the left towards the arrowhead volume. taking the opportunity to take a bit of a rest. She's at hold 20 and more than half her time remaining, significantly more than half her time remaining, so it seems she's paced the lower section pretty well. It's not a great rest that though, because you've still got to retain some force pulling sideways to get a rest. You've got no foothold directly underneath you. So Chasa Kalan on her way again and heading up for the halfway house, the black hold. And she got the timing about right. Out now towards the honeycomb volume. That was great. This, we've got the halfway house, the arrowhead, the honeycomb. Everything's got a name already on the route. Again, choosing to take a bit of a rest before launching into this physical section. This is a tricky hand swap coming up here. We saw Meiko Taki finding it tricky but finding a way. Mina Markovic took a little bit longer over it. Is she going to try and cross through? Surely makes the next move a bit harder. It's exactly what we saw from Mina. She had a look at doing it the cross through way, and then
they probably read the routes together, like all the Slovenians. So it'll be interesting if they all go for the same beta.
Yeah, I mean, Mina tried it, but then didn't follow through with it.
Yeah.
Chasa's gone through with it.
And she's into the foothold.
Yeah, this is the problem. She's got a bit out of sequence now.
Oh.
Goes up with the left hand, so much force going through that left shoulder now.
Oh.
Can she find a way of getting the right hand up to join it? She can. She now needs to spin round so her other hip is facing into the wall, and she can't quite find a way. Quite a clear sequence through that section.
Yeah, she got really stuck in her own beta there. But I think the intended beta is just to push up into the volume and not grab the holds as holds. But it's not a very natural move in a route, so maybe it's hard to see.
So Akiyo Noguchi will be out next. Fresh from a 4th place in Wujiang last week. Yeah, you can see she got quite extraordinary power through the knees and everything. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty impressive to be able to hang on to that performance, and I think they're having that conversation now.
Yeah.
Mina and Chasa. And Meiko Taki still has on to the high point. How long can she hang on to it? Can she hang on to it till the end? Certainly impressive performance. Akiyo Noguchi, Mia Krampel, Janja Garnbret, Aika Tajima and Jessie Pilz still to go. Here is Akiyo Noguchi.
I think this is a route that Akiyo can climb really well on.
I'm interested what makes you say that.
I mean, she's, at least the last few years, she's mainly bouldering, and all the funky sequences on this route are kind of bouldery. So I think she's having some good odds on her side.
Yeah, assuming she can get there, it'll be interesting to see how she read the hand swap, because Meiko Taki got it pretty much perfectly, so did perhaps the Japanese climbers read it together. We didn't actually see observation, so we don't know who was talking to who shared what tactics. But Akiyo underway. She's such a legend of the sport, Akiyo, but she speaks pretty good English, but we don't get to talk to her and interact with her as much as we do with people like yourself who speak perfect English. What's she like to be around behind the scenes?
I don't know Akiyo so well. I had a training session with her in Innsbruck in the spring, together with Anna and Kata and Berit, and it was really fun. It's like all these strong girls. But I'm not sure. I haven't talked that much with her.
What's she like to train with? Pretty focused?
Yeah. Focused, and she crimps everything. Like all the Austrians, they gave us like a lot of slopey boulders and like a lot of positioning and shoulders, but she just crimps everything. But it was fun. It was very inspiring session.
Yeah, she just seems to quietly get on with her business.
Yeah, she's very calm and focused. Also in ISO. Yeah.
Just keeps herself to herself.
Yeah, I guess she's with her team.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems very like in her own world, which is a good thing. I mean, everyone needs different focus.
She's absolutely flown up this route. I just looked at the clock, I could barely believe it. She's only used 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And already she's across to the hand swap. And I think she's read it to perfection. That's the closest we've seen to anyone pressing underneath like the route setters thought they would.
Yeah.
She just needs to now swing that forearm on top of the volume. There we go. So that's 33, heading up towards 34. That's hole 34 there, that half moon banana type hold. Now she doesn't want to get too high. That's what we saw with Mina Markovic. She perhaps got too high away from that quick draw. Akiyo sensibly clips and makes use of a not very comfortable looking heel hook. Now then, if she can land the next hold, she'll be in the lead. If she can attempt the next move, she'll take the lead just on countback to the previous round. She's not only attempted it, she's made it. So Akiyo Noguchi into unknown territory for this women's final here in Xiamen, the last event of 2018. She's on to the last 10 moves now. After that quick draw that she's just clipped, I think there's just one more and then the top. Can Akiyo Noguchi find the top here? Rocks up on the left foot. She's still looking strong through this section, but there's a hard move. She just saw a puff of the cheeks there from Akiyo Noguchi, betraying the effort that's going in. Will she clip or will she move? She will clip and then move. You can see really beginning to fight. She doesn't give much away, as we said. But the physical effort really beginning to show now. As she moves out to the right, that'll be hold 43.
I think she's supposed to have her left hand where she has her right hand.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to move out to the right if it is the right hand there. And I think she's having exactly that thought right now, is she? Or has she come up with a different method altogether? A lot of encouragement from Team Japan, as you'd expect. She does go up with the right hand and makes it work. Now she gets the left hand in place and will bump up again with the right. There it is, and almost manages to hang on to it. Akiyo Noguchi sets a new high point. Will it be enough for the win? We don't know yet, but we do know that Akiyo Noguchi left everything she had on that route, came down shaking her hands, pumped, but I think very satisfied.
I hope so. She climbs really well. But I think the intended beta was kind of mantle on the volume where she just used her feet, and that's why she was in the wrong position with her hands. So it'll be interesting to see what the rest of the girls will do here.
That's that cut loose move. Yeah, you can see Akiyo not one for giving much away, but you can see how much fight was going in there and just took every opportunity to have a little shake, try and get rid of a tiny bit of the pump. That is a terrible hold she's going for.
Yeah, but she looks happy.
There we can see it 43 plus for Akiyo, 36 plus for Meika Taki, currently first and second. Mia Krampel now, second final in the space of a week for her.
Yeah, it's nice to see Mia in finals. We climbed our first final together last year in Chamonix, and now she's such a big step above her level from last year.
Yeah, she has made a big step up, hey?
Yeah, she performs really steady and like often, or I guess always top 10 in the qualies and semis, and it's cool to see when people like do the work and they take like a solid step.
What do you think the work has been for her? Is it more intense training? Is it a different training regime?
I have no idea how the Slovenians train, but it's quite a small country, so I assume they train a lot together. But I heard everyone works with different coaches, and if you have a different coach, you don't train with the same people, and I don't know. I guess she just trains hard and like go 100% as many sessions as possible.
It's a pretty good recipe.
Yeah, I think the older you get, the more quality you need in your training. Like when you're youth, it's you can get really far with just endurance, but then you need to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and you see that with climbers who kind of hit a bit of a plateau as they get a bit older.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really impressive when you see people like Akiyo who have just watched, who can move with the times, adjust to the changes in your body as you get a bit older.
Yeah. Yeah, especially Akiyo, like the bouldering style has changed so much since she first started competing, and like she's always like in finals. I don't know when she made her first final, but I think it's quite a long time ago.
I have a feeling it was 2006. I can check my notes when Mia Krampel's done. Mia again, moving well. She's through the arrowhead. You can see that halfway black hold coming into view now. Not quite keeping pace with Akiyo. Akiyo absolutely flying. She was about another 7 or 8 moves further on at this stage. Not that it matters, of course. They aren't tied, so it won't be about time. Now she's out towards the honeycomb, heading up towards the 30th hold. Nice, a couple of those close-ups just to get a bit of an insight into what exactly an average hold looks like on a World Cup final route. Now she's up to the hand swap. Now the first two Slovenians we saw, Chiasa Kalan and Mina Markovic, hadn't read it at all, and interestingly Mia's also going for that cross-through method and also not really liking it, so I think your theory that they read it together is probably true.
Let's see if she can get out of it.
Well, she's somehow found a way.
Yeah, and she looks pretty calm.
Yeah, and she just roll the forearm onto the top of that volume and then head out left to that quite distinctive round hold. 15 moves from the top of the route now, Mia Krampel. 2 minutes 35 left on the clock.
It looks like a really powerful clip.
Yeah, it's a really awkward clip, and you can see her thinking, as Mina did, how am I free up a hand to get this done? She's got it done. Heading up towards where we lost Meika Taki. Left foot just pops off as it did with Meika Taki. Glances down at the clock, Mia Krampel. Can she find a way to bring that left hand up? Now she can. So just stabbed out to the left, and that's enough to move her for now into second place. So Akiyo Noguchi hangs on to the lead. 3 climbers still to go. Janja Garnbret, Aika Tajima and Jessie Pilz. Yeah, interesting. I think what you said about the Slovenians reading the route together is absolutely spot on. But she figured it out pretty quickly that that wasn't the way to do it.
Yeah. It's really important to be able to change your beta during the route if things aren't as you think it is.
Now we're about to see Janja Garnbret. We're used to seeing her coming out last. She was timed out on the semi-final route. Jessie Pilz was the only climber to top the semi-final. Janja was timed out on hold 42, 3 or 4 moves short of the top. So let's see what happened to Mia Krampel here. The feet came off.
I also think she missed the small one.
Yeah, feet came off, got the left foot back on, and then just missed going up with that left hand.
Oh, she looks a bit disappointed.
I'm quite surprised by her reaction, actually.
Oh! 27 plus. Maybe she used something she's not allowed to use?
Yeah, that would be the assumption. She certainly got well past that. She was heading up in the vicinity of hold 38, 39.
She looks very disappointed. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, she must have been marked down for something. Hopefully we'll locate a replay, perhaps stood on a bolt.
Maybe.
There's a bolt right next to one of the footholds that could explain it. I'm just looking. She was awarded, was it 27 plus she got?
Yes.
So that's heading out, according to our route map, somewhere in the region of the hand swap. So we'll see. Janja Garnbret's out on the route now. Didn't clearly waste any time looking at the route. By the time the camera picked her up, she was already a couple of quick draws up. Yeah, timed out on the semi-final route, which is not something you'd normally expect from Janja.
No. But it looked like she was cruising, she was taking it really slow. And I guess for her, she can go slow on the semi-final. And I guess she also knew that it already had been topped.
So Janja underway in the hunt for another World Cup win. Won 3 of the first 4 events.
Oh.
And looking to get back on the top step. Make it 4 World Cup wins for the season. This will be her 3rd season taking the overall title, regardless of what happens here. That was already in the bag before she even travelled down to Xiamen. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Xiamen on the South China Sea. We're only about 200 metres from the shore here in a truly spectacular venue in amongst huge glass skyscrapers. Makes a fitting finale for a wonderful IFSC season. And we've got Janja Garnbret, one of the stories of the season, as she has been for the last 3 years, currently on the wall. She's won the lead overall title, she won the Boulder World Championships and the Combined World Championships. Can she cap off yet another vastly successful year with a win here in southern China? Flying up the route, 3 minutes 40 left on the clock, found her way to the hand swap. She's also going for the cross through and had a look at it and didn't like it at all. Will she try a new method altogether? Interesting again, yeah. Once again, has a look at the cross through, wonders if it was right in the first place and thinks no, maybe it wasn't. Just goes direct up with the right hand and the feet cut loose. That is what having a load of excess power does for you. The rope's just caught under that volume actually. And again, it should free itself as the feet come off, and it does. That's hole 34. 43 plus the score of Akiyo Noguchi that she's hunting down.
That looks like a good clipping position. Definitely less powerful than
less
the other
powerful,
girls
slightly awkward. It looked better when she initially started to clip than it did by the time she'd finished. So she just got to be careful here. Mia Krampel fell, moving up and left after her feet cut loose. Janja looking much more solid, and then drops her body weight over to the left. So you can see there 2 more clips, and then after that you are heading for the top. As I say, 43 plus the score of Akiyo Noguchi. That was the first of those 2 crimps, those blue crimps that we just saw on the edge of the spotlight that's currently illuminating Janja Garnbret in the southern Chinese darkness. Take your time all of a sudden. No need to rush. 1:35 left on the clock. And less than 10 moves to do. Goes up for the tiny screw-on in that pink volume with the left hand. Suddenly explodes back into movement. Now can she figure out a way of going out to the right? We saw Akiyo Noguchi in this position. Janja looks down at the clock. 1:10. She'll be pleased with what she sees. She's got a pretty decent rest. And like Akiyo, she's just trying to figure out how to free up the right hand to move out. There's no use just having the left free. Once again, she drops down for a rest. What method will Janja Garnbret choose? She's found a way to get the left hand where she wants it. She's now got the right hand where she wants it. Moves that right foot out, bumps the right hand up, and will take the lead from Akiyo Noguchi. She's on the penultimate hold. What she'll need to do is match it, and then there's a big committed move out to the left. She's got plenty of time to savour this moment, but she's got to get it right to have the perfect finish to the route. Left hand lands on the top hold, right hand lands. The crowd go crazy. She clips the quick draw, and it's a top for Janja Garnbret. She's done all she can do in the final. Aika Tajima and Jessie Pilz still to come, but can they match the achievements of that woman as she lowers to the ground? Amazing stuff from Janja. She's so measured.
Yeah. It looked pretty easy for her.
That was the word I was trying not to use. But yeah, there's no avoiding the E word. It frankly did look pretty easy. And had a couple of incidents as well. Lost her footing on one occasion. Her feet cut loose when she had her right hand on that triangular volume.
Yeah.
It wasn't all plain sailing.
Yeah, she has a pretty risky style, but it's very cool to watch.
The route setters, I don't think, felt that last move was super easy, but she just cruised across.
Yeah.
And it's a nice moment. It's so nice to see Domen and Janja. Well, it's an unusual position for her. Normally when she finishes climbing, she knows what her result will be, because she's generally out last. But she'll sit and watch and enjoy and know that she finished her season on a high, regardless of whether it's enough to give her the win.
Yeah. And I guess it's nice for her for a change to climb with less pressure. Like being last, it's always more pressure. You know where you need to come.
Yeah, well, she's guaranteed a medal, Janja, so she'll continue her run of podiums.
Yeah.
I say a run, it's more like a habit of podiums. Or an inevitability. She's only missed one in her entire IFSC senior lead career. Aika Tajima now takes to the wall. Not seen her in.
Has she competed World Cups before? I can't remember to have seen her before.
Yes, she has competed in World Cups, but not this season.
Okay.
Yeah. Not many, it has to be said. This is her first lead World Cup for over 3 years.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, she cruised the semis this morning.
Yeah, I mean,
she really made it look easy.
And we mentioned about Team Japan earlier on. It is quite incredible. You've got a climber like Aika Tajima who We've seen in youth competitions and the occasional World Cup, but we haven't seen her frequently by any means. Suddenly just appears and absolutely crushed that semi-final route. Came pretty close to topping it. There's not many teams could produce a climber of that caliber who hasn't even competed in a World Cup for a couple of years.
Yeah. And it's also really funny with the guys because there's always a new guy in finals for the Japanese team.
They take it in turns, you not know that? They have a rota. Swap around. So Janja Garnbret's going to be on the podium. She's topped the route. It's Aika Tajima and Jessie Pilz hunting her down. Temperature really dropped here in Xiamen.
Yeah, it actually got pretty cold.
Yeah, I don't mind admitting I'm actually cold now. It's something I couldn't imagine saying for most of the time I've spent in Xiamen over the past few years.
But it's definitely better than the tropical weather that we usually have here.
Yes, it is. Incredibly fierce hot sun for much of today and much of this week, the route setters tell me. And Aika Tajima, no issues so far.
Yeah, she makes it look pretty okay.
You can say it again, it's okay. Now, looks to have read that move pretty well, but just didn't find the perfect spot on that crimp.
Yeah.
Got to be a bit higher on it, hey. There just wasn't enough room for all 4 fingers.
Yeah.
That's disappointing. Be interesting to see what she could have done if she got that move, because certainly fatigue didn't look to be an issue. You can see even now she's not really shaking out or anything. So she will not displace Janja Garnbret on the top step for now. Only Jessie Pilz can do that. If Jessie tops the route, she will win on count back to the semi-final. This was where Aika fell. Just watch that right hand. She just misses. You can see where the good part of that crimp is. It's that bit on the left as it begins to curve upwards, and she just went to the right of it into that little hole on the right hand side of it, and I think she's just talking through that. Still back in World Cup action. Not bad first lead final after a brilliant semi-final. She'll be pretty happy with that upon reflection. Here comes the world champion, Jessie Pilz. It's hard to believe she hadn't won a World Cup until this season.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Made a massive breakthrough this year. Her endurance is just incredible.
Yeah.
And remember, it won't matter about time as long as she gets it done within 6 minutes. A top is enough to win the competition for her.
Yeah, she really had an amazing season this year.
Well, first World Cup win, and then the World Championships.
Like last year, it looked like she struggled to find her flow. Like she was often superb in qualies and semis, and then she often messed up in finals. But this year, she climbs really well in all rounds.
Well, consistency is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
In league
especially
climbing,
for the confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mistakes, we had this conversation earlier, particularly with the route setting style we've seen this year. Mistakes are punished so harshly.
Yeah.
And Jessie's really found that consistency.
Yeah. .5:10 left on the clock for Jessie. Judging by what we saw for Janja, I don't think time should be an issue. But we said that for Janja in the semi-final. She was timed out, so I'm making no predictions. Choosing to take a rest on what are 2 pretty hideous holds. And setting a good pace. Over 4.5 minutes remaining. She's up to hole 20 of a total of 48. If you count that top hole as a match, which it would be to clip from
So yeah, just approaching halfway. Loads of time remaining. Looking strong, Jessie Pilz. Quite a strong wind though. Does it get to the stage where the wind actually becomes a negative thing?
I remember qualis here last year. It was really windy. I remember talking to Eddie, the photographer, after qualis, and he was like, there were so many weird faces and hair everywhere, and yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's as much as anything, it affects your concentration when it's really windy, I think.
Yeah, I've never climbed in super windy conditions in a comp, but outside I've climbed in pretty hard wind, and it definitely feels like you fight more against the wind than the route.
You can see that tree moving behind Jessie. She thought about going for a pretty powerful looking method and chooses to do as Janja did and go straight up with that right hand. Now, real change of style. It's up to the banana. No need to look at the scores too much. The season title's already been decided, and only a top is good enough to hand Jessie Pilz another gold medal here. Again, choosing to rest. Now, this is a tricky sequence. Had a couple of climbers fall on this section. Demands respect, and you've got to keep your body position correct. If you were to drop at all, if a foot slips, it's really hard to stay with it. Chooses to go early with the left hand and then bring the feet across. Different method to Akiyo and Janja, but it's worked for her. Probably she ended up in a slightly awkward position, but was able to drop the left foot back down. You can see she's just got amazing endurance, Jess. She's just able to move around on those holds and make her decisions. So 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes from now, we will know the winner of the final IFSC World Cup of 2018. Jessie Pilz is gunning for it. Now there's something of a rest, not so much because you've got a good handhold, but because you've got a good foothold here. Can Jessie figure out a way to get the left hand where her right hand currently is, so she can then pop out to the right, and another big pop with the right, then come out left, and then the top beckons. Easier said than done though. You can see her hair blowing, the wind really picking up here in Xiamen. It's making for pretty dramatic stuff. She's choosing to take a pretty long rest, regain as much energy as she can. It's a terrible hold, that second blue crimp out to the right where Akiyo Noguchi fell. She takes a quick look at the clock. She will have been pretty happy with what she saw. I think 1 minute to go. Chooses to pop out with the right hand and made it work. I'm not sure how she stopped that momentum there. Now she's going through with the left, matching with the right. This is intelligent climbing from Jessie Pilz. It's a terrible hold she's managing to match on, but she's somehow got herself in position. She's got time on the clock. It looks like she's got energy in the tank. She's got the left hand on the penultimate hold. Takes a final chance to chalk up. Jessie Pilz lining it up for another World Cup win in what has already been by far the best season of her life. Just over 20 seconds remaining. She's had a final chalk up. She's got herself in position. Slaps out with the left hand. Gets a heel hook in position. Once she reaches through and clips a quick draw, it's in the bag. Jessie Pilz wins in Xiamen to cap the season of her career. She's lowered to the ground. It looks like she can barely believe it, but she judged that to perfection. Jessie Pilz, world champion, and you saw her class there. Amazing stuff from her.
Yeah, she climbs well. And I think it's a pity it's yet another competition where Jessie and Janja tops finals, and it goes on countback or time.
They've been so evenly matched this season.
Yeah.
It is. It's a shame.
It would be fun to see them on something a bit harder.
I think it's just a case of comprehending how well those two are climbing this year. Because the route setters really thought they'd set a super hard route for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
We will try and grab Jessie Pilz before we go. Talk us through her route. Of course, nothing is done just yet.
But I remember finals in Arco was really good. Then they really struggled, both of them, and they fought and fought and fought. It was really impressive.
I was just about to say, we had climbers marked down, we think, for perhaps standing on a bolt. So I was about to say nothing's done until we see it on the scoreboard, of course. But Jessie Pilz, you can see it there, top for her, top for Janja Garnbret. And Akiyo Noguchi gets another podium, more than 50 podiums in the career of Akiyo Noguchi across the disciplines, which when you think about what an achievement a podium is, it's quite amazing. And there is Jessie. I'm optimistic that we'll be able to get her to come up and talk through her route. Just having a quick word with her coach and disappears into the crowd. That's not good for our chances of getting her. That's not what we want to see. She's just gone to get the sponsor hat, the vital sponsor hat. And now she's heading up to us. Tina, you can clock off. Your work is done. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to have you, and I've been hoping to get you on the live stream for a while now, so I'm pleased we finally made it happen at the last broadcast of the year, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Jessie just heading up now. And we can talk through her climb. Quick hug between Tina and Jessie. And Jessie's just getting the headset on. Jessie, welcome to the commentary box, and congratulations on what's been an incredible season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super psyched that I could finish it off with a top here.
And I was saying earlier on, I can't believe this is the same season you won your first World Cup. You know, you've really reached that level where we're expecting you to win regularly now. I bet you can almost not believe what this season's been like.
Yeah, it's really hard to
Well, let's have a look at replay. We're going to see the top half of your attempt on the route. Well, your successful top of the route. How did you find it? It never really looked like you were super stressed.
No, I just knew I had to top because I heard it before that Janja topped. And yeah, I just tried to not get stressed too much and get used of the sick. And yeah, I really rested quite long in the end. To don't over it up there.
How did you know Janja topped?
Yeah, I could hear from the speakers and the crowd, and yeah.
They're not supposed to say that, the MC. Anyway, so you knew what you had to do, and it seemed like you measured it really well. Were you watching the clock quite closely?
Yeah, on the next hole I had a longer rest, and I checked the watch all the time, and I had quite a lot of time. Yeah, there was quite a lot of time
remaining?
Yeah, remaining, that's the word. Thanks. Yeah.
And then as you go up for this left hand, was it a rest? It looked quite comfortable on the feet.
Yeah, here it was a really good rest because the next crimp, this one was quite good, especially with this foothold, with the big one. And yeah, I rested here a little bit and thought of the next moves because I wasn't sure how to do the next move. I thought I have to get with the left hand to the crimp I have now with the right, but yeah, it worked also the other ways.
Well, that's what Akiyo and Janja did. They got the left hand where your right hand is, but you went for a really powerful way of doing it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the next intermediate hole is that good to go right to it, but yeah, it was okay the next hole, so I could do it like that.
Yeah, I was almost surprised when you moved. You know, I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting it because I thought
Yeah.
you'd have to swap the hands, and you just had a good look and then bang.
Yeah.
I don't know how you stopped like that. You pushed the left foot against the wall,
Yeah, I just jumped a little bit from the big volume.
and you must have realised here that you're
Yeah,
almost
here
certainly
I
going
knew
to do it.
it's possible to top.
It must be hard to stay calm when
Yeah,
you know that the top is close.
Yeah, sure. I was a little bit afraid to slip because the volumes have not the best friction, but yeah, it was okay. I just didn't want to rush too much.
And we were talking a lot about the wind as well. Was it a problem, the wind, or was it you'd not really notice it?
No, in the beginning I was a little bit surprised that it was that windy, but then after half of the route I didn't recognize anymore.
And there it is. Obviously you knew you'd won. And what a season it's been.
Yeah, so good.
Well, Jesse, huge congratulations not only on this win but on the whole season. It's just been, you've just taken a huge step up.
Yeah, it was, the last 2 years were so hard for me, and because of all the injuries, of course, and yeah, it's so good just to be back again. I had really a hard time the last 2 years, and so it just feels so good to be able to stand on the podium again, and also on the first spot this time.
Well, enjoy, because you've got a long winter of training coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
So enjoy that last moment of glory on the podium this
Thanks.
evening. And to you guys watching at home, thank you so much for your company. It's been a long season. We've been all over the world with the IFSC. It's been unforgettable for us, as well, of course, for Jesse. And hopefully you guys at home, we will see you next year. Can it be even better? We hope so. See you then.